I am happy to announce that a handful of filming sessions ago, I came to this world because my computer was having sorrow, and I needed an optimized world I, to pray that I could film, and it did work. So I went to I searched for optimized, and I found this lovely sunset, and this world is all of like 5 megabytes or something like that. Uh, and at first I was like, I don't want a low megabyte world, but actually it's just so it's such a wonderful time, isn't is it not just does it not just fill you with peace and joy, and you can feel nothing but peace and joy when you're in a world such as this. And we have a peace and joy kind of video for you today. I can't wait. Let's get to it. Up first, my outfit. My outfit. My outfit. My outfit brings peace and joy even just to me, and I want to tell you about it because I really liked it in one of the videos ago. I told you about my outfit, and you get another one today, just so you get the fullness of the picture of where this video comes to you from. Because I slept in gym shorts, and in the morning I kept on my gym shorts, and it was time to film. But I took like a step, and I had like my cereal, and I watched a Dead by Daylight video as I had my cereal, as you are wont to do. And then I stepped towards the trackers in my gym shorts still, and I was like, nope, we can do better. And instead, I went and I have a light pink, not even salmony color, a little leopard kind of shorts. And I don't normally wear those, but I was like, now is the right time. And so this video comes to you in the best possible state. But now let's talk about the video itself because it's a nice one. It's a very pleasant one. Because I recently had one of those famous late night conversations that like you don't want it to end because it's been a good night, but it's getting late, and so you don't want to like you want to keep it going, but like it's time for things to be done because there's an entire day tomorrow and things has to happen, and then it's just late. And I hadn't had one of those for a while, so that itself was just a really neat experience. But it calls to mind a thought that I had concerning the experience, and I will just let you know right now, there is no resolution to this video. There is no like, oh, what do we do about this knowledge? It's like it's just a thought that I have. This is just one of my thoughts. Take it or leave it. You can pick it up. It'll be yours for the taking. So don't look forward to a resolution. There's not a point to this. It's just a fun examination of the mechanisms that can apply to the experience of kind of like the lingering conversation. And as a child, it would look like when I was hanging out with my bestest friend in all of the land, and we'd be like having a late night talk in his room and just vibing and discussing the world and all things or whatever you do when you have a conversation like that. And then it's getting late enough and there's school tomorrow or whatever, and so we would move from his room to like the living room, and then from there eventually we move to the door, and then at some point we open the door and then we have a conversation across the threshold of the houses. And then every now and then sometimes like he would even join me on the patio and just taking steps along the way, because you don't want the conversation to end, and it's been a lovely night. You don't want the night to end, but you can feel it waning, and so you kind of like taper off the night. And maybe it's because I had gone rather some time without such a conversation that I was ruminating upon the principle of them. Or maybe I was like probably having one with my mom at some point or something like that. But I have thoughts about it because, okay, so first, so there might be some sort of a life lesson that applies here. I don't know for sure because we're going to talk about alcoholism for like 2 seconds. I promise it applies. Because a friend within the past year, I want to say, shared with me that you don't want another drink, you want the last drink again, and that really resonated to me. Not because I have a history of an alcoholic, but you do reach a very specific point in a night of when you're drinking when you have completely the right buzz and you are just the right level of you're inebriated just enough and you're in the golden zone and it's excellent. You have reached the apex of the evening. And that last drink was so excellent because you were right in the golden zone and you want to keep it going. And when you feel like I want to keep it going, it's the hardest time of the night to tell yourself, no, let's not have another drink. Because in that instance, you don't want another drink to go beyond the perfect zone. You just want the last drink again because you're in the perfect zone, it hit exactly right, and you can no longer have that drink again. It already occurred. You are already in the perfect zone of inebriation when you're drinking. You want that last drink again. You don't want another one. An odd little thought, and I don't think it has a ton of bearing outside of drinking necessarily. But I started trying to apply it to other parts of life, and I think it's just a little bit interesting. Because going back to the conversation, you enter a zone at some point, I think, where you don't want the night to end and you don't want the conversation to end, but it's already ended. Like, by the time you've had that thought about, like, oh, it's getting late, the evening will expire soon, or whatever, then it's kind of already dead. It doesn't have to be that dramatic of language, and it wasn't like that dramatic of an experience, but I just think that there's something kind of to that, like that little thought there, that when you're the second you really think, like, it's getting late, it's been a long enough time or whatever, like, we don't want the night to end, but it's time for the night to end at some point. That's the moment where it's like the conversation is no longer the conversation that it was, because you want it to stay. And I'm curious just about if the thought applies here, where you don't want the conversation to continue, you want the conversation that's been up to that point again. And lingering onto it for a little bit is its own system. It's a delightful system, and it's wonderful, and it's just all part of the experience of having one of those really great late night conversations or whatever. But I do think it's mildly interesting to consider that it's a different time. It's a different part of the conversation. And you can't, like, we don't want it to end. So you linger before and it's all part of the night. But if you don't want a conversation to end, so you just, kind of, then it already has ended. In a way. Maybe? I don't know. But that's my thoughts about conversations that kind of, like, linger a little bit, and I just wanted to talk about my thoughts about that for a second. And now I'm gonna stand here and make sure that there's nothing else I really feel like saying in this video, but I think that's it. So one sec. I think at a certain point it might look like being nostalgic already for the conversation you just had, even as you're pursuing into the denouement of the conversation, which is neither here nor there, just a thought that I had. And actually, I think what we might end up with is a juxtaposition within myself that I just barely realized. Because part of this system, I theorize, can be surmised in a Queens of the Stone Age lyric. Holding on too long is a fear of letting go. And I don't always subscribe to that, but kind of a little bit, which is that what it looks like when you hold on to a conversation too long because you don't want to let it go, but it's time to be done, so just end it because you're afraid of letting go of the conversation. And that's how I interpreted those lyrics as they pertained to one of those really cool conversations. But I think I was more cynical when I had that thought, and I guess the reason why I wanted to make this video is because there was a conflict of thought. Like, I no longer feel that way because denouement is a part of it. A denouement is part of a story. You have your finishing act. There's like a resolution to it. It's part of the arc, and it's not so much that you want the conversation that you just barely were having, and now it's time for, like, you've reached a mark and it's time to end. But also you're celebrating the end of a conversation by, like, it tapers off in a really natural way. And it's possible that the longer the taper, the better the conversation. I'm not sure, but I guess what I learned from this video, at least, is I'm not in the cynical space I was anymore when I previously considered those long conversations, because what a cynical take it is to, like, oh, if you linger onto a conversation too long, you're just afraid of letting go of it, and if it's too late, and it's time for the conversation to be done, and you have to go home or whatever, then just go home. At that point, it's done because you've already recognized it's getting late, it's time to be done. And that's not how I feel anymore, because when a conversation lingers and it's just a really nice night, because I had that juxtaposition where I had thought, oh, the evening is expiring, let's just expire it. Like, what are we waiting for? It's time to expire. And but I didn't feel like that, because by expiring early, you're robbing yourself of a sufficient denouement to the experience. And it was a nice denouement. I think you need the denouement. More denouement. So that's the word for today, and that is the video for today. Is I recognized recently that I am less cynical than I used to be, at least as it pertains to conversations, which is excellent, and I can also come to appreciate a good denouement. This video, however, doesn't really have a denouement, and I think it's long enough, and I think I can close it out. I don't know if I said what I wanted to say, but I didn't really have anything that I wanted to say, except for really, honestly, when I started this video, I knew that I wanted to talk about conversation, and I wanted to talk about my leopard shorts that you can't see. And I talked about both of those things. So, I guess that's it? I don't know. I guess we'll talk about my clothes, too. Because, I mean, this video's got time, right? Yeah, I'll show you my clothes. So, they're not on... Oh, oops, so hang on. These are my clothes. I haven't shown them on videos yet, but in camera, I have shown them a little bit on, like, stream. And the fur clips a little bit still, so don't pay too close attention to that. And I want to, like, customize them, and they're a little strange, because I feel like in different lightings and different worlds, they look a little bit different because of, like, I don't know what's happening there. But look, I have clothes now, and I also have shorts in VR, and I never used to have shorts in VR. And then my friend helped me kind of realize what it needs to look like to get my fur to not clip through my shirt next time that I put it on. So I almost didn't want to show it to you guys because it's not all the way ready to go. But I wanted to show it to you also, I guess, because I started the day with clothes, ended the day with clothes, and then we had a conversation in the middle as I was talking about conversations in the middle. And that makes it a good video. That makes it a really good video. We covered all sorts of bases. I'm going to go walk out of frame now, I guess, and see what I'm going to do with the rest of my day. But this was the video that we had. Bye, guys.